Hello and welcome to the Thrifty Hedonist. My name is Allie, and this is a space that I like to talk about having a lifestyle that costs less, which then allows you to spend more money on the things that you love, and doing so by being frugal, thrifty, and a little bit scrappy. Today, I want to talk about 5 ways that you can combat consumerism in a society that seems to be pushing it at every moment. And they're going to be practical. I'm not going to tell you about how you have to completely change your life. I'm just going to give you 5 mindset shifts and tips and tricks that you can be thinking of to be a more conscious consumer. If you live in a society like me that does rely on capitalism to fuel its economy, you probably feel a lot of pressure to constantly keep buying and keeping up with the trends and things that other people are owning and having and experiencing. But if you can reduce or even eliminate that frivolous spending, you will have so much more money to put towards things that might matter a lot more to you. Or it could even help you reduce the amount of hours that you have to work in order to maintain the lifestyle that you have. So let's get into it. My very first tip for you, I'm not going to harp on too much because I think we all know the importance of it, but it is to have a grateful heart and feel appreciative for all that you do have. If you take the time to look around you, you will probably notice that you have everything that you really could ever need, and probably a lot more than that. And so having gratitude for everything that you own and are surrounded by can be incredibly important and even help you save money. If you already live from a place of having a full cup, you're not going to need more things to keep pouring into that cup to feel like you are getting fulfilled. So if you live every single day just with a cup full of happiness and gratitude for all that you have, this can really lead to a reduction in the need to be buying more things. We all probably know ways that we can practice gratitude, but I'll just give a couple suggestions. I think you can have something that's a little more scheduled. So you could do every time that you're brushing your teeth in the morning or at night or both. You could just list in your head the things that you're grateful for that day. And you could even leave a sticky note on your mirror that just says, what are you grateful for today? Another way is kind of intermingling it throughout the day. And an example of this could be when you're putting away clean dishes. You could look at each mug and really think about, how did you come into possession with this mug? Why is it that you like drinking out of it more than the other mugs? And just being grateful that you have these things that allow you to do basic things like eat and drink. Okay, tip number 2 is going to be really easy as soon as you master that first tip. But this tip is ignore ads. Or better yet, just laugh in their face. We are constantly surrounded by advertisements on all platforms of social media. It's on the radio, it's on every streaming service that you might have. And honestly, our friends are really good advertisers too for all of the latest products and brands and things that we feel like we need to be a part of. Advertisers are always going to tell you that you have a problem that only they and their product can fix for you. And if you have that first tip mastered where you realize you have everything that you need, you're not going to be impacted by their advertisements because you're like, hey, I don't have any problems. I'm not lacking in any way. What you're selling does nothing for me. Ads can be very persuasive though, and I will just give you an example of a time that I completely fell for advertisement and of course was wildly disappointed. So prior to my wedding, I had been going to a dermatologist to tackle some acne that I had been experiencing, and unfortunately the treatment method was just horrible for my skin. It was getting closer and closer to my wedding, and so I'm kind of freaking out, and as you can imagine, every single Google search that I did was about solutions to acne. It was me paying attention to videos on Instagram that were about reducing acne, and of course your algorithm picks up on those things. I was getting served these ads that were, curing acne, and it was just gonna be this simple product. That's all I needed. There were 2 times that I fell for this because I did feel like I had a problem that they could fix for me. And both times I got the product and it was absolute garbage. Like, duh. Of course it was garbage, but I had fallen for it because I was coming from a place of lack and need and scarcity and fear, and they had a product that was going to fix it for me. So don't be like me. Instead, if it helps, just laugh at the ads that you see. Pretend that they are just as bad as those infomercials. They are that laughable. Their product is garbage. You don't need it. Tip number 3, and this is one I actually use all the time, and that is every time you have an urge to buy something, put it on a list. Keep the list in your phone of all of your wants and your needs, and I've noticed 2 things happen during this. Either I put it on the list and it sits there and I realize I don't need it at all. Like, it just isn't important. It takes the urgency out of, I need this thing right now. Or it gives me a list of things that I know that I'm looking for when I am browsing Facebook Marketplace, or I'm at a thrift store, or I'm paying attention to my Buy Nothing Facebook groups. Or it's something that I can ask my community for if, I spend some time and I'm still not finding it. So it reminds me the things that I'm looking for. And plus, when I'm at the thrift store, I can stick to my list instead of just browsing and just buying things just because I want to buy them, which I'm so guilty of course, but keeping to that list and not impulse buying, even when it's at a thrift store, can be really helpful in saving money. Tip number 4. Utilize your secondhand resources. This is huge. I mentioned a bunch of them in the previous tip, but I just want to dive a little deeper into them. There are so many resources that you can use that don't require spending or require a fraction of what you would normally spend. So my favorites are Buy Nothing groups that are on Facebook. So what it is a community of neighbors who post things that they're going to get rid of before donating it to a thrift store or trashing it, and seeing if anybody wants it. And on the flip side, people can also post what they're searching for and see if anybody has that item that's just kind of collecting dust that they can hand off. And it's completely free. So I highly recommend you just doing searches in your area and see what kind of services and resources you can find. I know a lot of big box kind of home improvement stores will also rent out tools and things you might need. So the thing you're looking for, just type it in and search rental and see if you can find anything nearby. The other thing too that I mentioned is just talking to your personal community, having discussions with your parents and family, friends as well, of the things that you're looking for. Our friend group likes to post things like, hey, does anybody want this before I get rid of it? We all like the same things, so a lot of times it'll be, hiking gear, and it'll be great because it's like, yeah, actually I would love to replace my old with this new one that you were just gonna get rid of. The 5th tip on how to reduce consumption is, when you buy new, buy quality. That does seem a little counterproductive when I'm talking about being frugal, but quality is so important. Rather than buying 4, 5, 6 different shirts that each time you wash them, they shrink, they deteriorate, instead buy one quality shirt that you know that you're gonna wear and get the use out of it. And in the end, you're probably spending about the same amount. You just have reduced all of the waste from spending money on 10 different shirts that were garbage to begin with. 10 years ago, I invested in a heavy-duty winter jacket that was an absolute necessity to be a college student in Fargo, North Dakota. And it was a Lands' End down puffer jacket. And when I tell you that thing is still in mint condition, and I use it every single winter, and it's amazing. And I will still get 10 or more years out of it. So yes, it was more expensive on purchase, but I'm getting so much out of it. And that's the way to approach your purchases. You want to be invested in the item. You want to know that this is something you're going to use continually, and this isn't just a immediate trend that you feel like you need to buy into. When you're buying and you're spending a lot of money on it, you know that it's serious and it's something you actually want. One other thing on that note, I will say it's so great to do your research into brands and companies that align with your beliefs. There are a lot of companies that will do repairs and replacements to items that are damaged, even through normal wear. This is a great way to build brand loyalty, not just based on what's trendy, but brands that actually care about their products and their customers. A few brands, just based on the research that I've done, that are really good about the repair, replace type of thing are Patagonia, The North Face, Osprey for their backpacking gear and just all gear in general, Chaco's, KitchenAid, and Fender guitars are known to be really great for that. So this is just a tiny fraction of a list, but do your own research and see brands that you actually really want to support with your dollars. Well, there you have it. That was 5 practical ways that you can fight consumerism without really changing much in your day-to-day life. I hope that you found that helpful, and I want you to remember that the less that you spend, the less money that you actually have to make, which might mean the less work that you actually have to do, and you just get to enjoy life more. So if you enjoyed these tips and tricks, please feel free to comment which is your favorite, which you're most excited to implement in your life, and please let me know if there's any that you think I forgot, because I'm always looking to add some more strategies to my toolbox. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you along for this journey. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, be well and be thrifty. Bye!